celebrate with us like always. The one and only. Hair is looking marvelous, by the way. I'm trying to push buttons so I don't mess this up. The one and only Gillian the Savage Robertson.
What is up?
Hello. How are you? How you feeling?
I'm doing great. I think we talked about it last week. I was a little bit excited. Still on that same wave, you know. Weight cut's going great. We're 10 days out now, so I'm like, I'm honestly just like in an ideal spot right now.
Your opponent picked red?
Gosh,
How
tell me
dare
about
she?
it. So, like, apparently, so the UFC texted me that they're like, your opponent picked red, so you have to pick black or white. And then I texted them back. I was like, I didn't even know Brazil could pick red. And they replied to me, they're like, Brazil can't pick red. She's representing a different country, I'm assuming just so she can wear the red shorts.
Oh, that's petty. That's petty. Are you taking
like,
this personally?
Exactly.
You got to. You have to. Like, there's a little bit of like. Also, too, I'm not trying to go there, but like there is a little respecting. Like, dude, you're one out of 3 or 4 fighters in the whole organization that has a hair thing that matches their color. Like, you're pretty well known, right? Like, you're in the game, all right? You're in the UFC game. Like, you're a superstar, okay? So, like, for her to be like, hey, I want red. It's not even my country. She's just doing that so she can be red, so you can't be red.
Right, because she doesn't normally wear red. She almost always wears yellow, right?
I've seen her wear red once before when she fought Amanda Hebus. So I even went back after. I was like, has she ever done this before? Like, just to make sure. So I'm like, she has worn red once before. Her last fight, though, she wore, I want to say black against Angela Hill. I'm like, so I was looking at all the outfits after that. I was like,
I'm taking this personal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I posted it on my Instagram. I'm like, it's going to be her funeral, though, so I guess I'll wear black.
I love that. That's amazing. I got to say, Sean has a great comment here. He said, wear white and paint it red with her blood.
That's another good idea there.
That's pretty vicious. That's pretty vicious. Has 1% or one minor thought went through your head and be like, hey, I'm going to dye my hair black for this fight. I'm going to shock the world and come in all black and dominate. Have you thought about that at all? Or is it 100%?
Nope. The only thing that's changed is I was going to get my nails done red and gold, and now they're getting done black and red. I'm like, I just have to go with it.
Yeah.
I support it.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Kind of Halloween-y anyway. It works for this week.
I understand how much like bleaching it takes to be able to dye your hair red. Don't undo years.
No, Dave doesn't understand the damage I would do if I went black and then back to red.
And then had to bleach it again to dye it red. Yeah, no, don't do that to your poor hair.
I would go bald.
You could braid some black hair into your red. That might be kind of cool.
That
actually might be a good idea.
That would be fire.
Especially match your nails.
Yeah, cute. Exactly. I'm like, I just gotta like go into it now. I accepted I'm wearing black, and now I'm just going.
This is your villain era.
Yeah, exactly. Going into the villain era.
Also, before we get into UFC Edmonton, UFC 308, where all of our hearts broke for sure, including Jillian's. Probably the number one question I wanted to ask you. Now it's for like 2-3 days because you have became. I saw that you are a professional ESPN baseball analyst, and you know all the teams and who's going to win.
Oh, yeah, you saw that?
I did see it. So
I missed this. What is going on here?
Oh, Gillian is like, it's like ESPN and G is right there, and she now talks baseball, and she knows who's going to win the games.
Pre-training, pretty high. Jillian gets bombarded by Dean getting asked baseball questions and posted on Instagram is what it was.
Oh, that's amazing. I support that.
Here's the worst part. You were actually right with your answer. You literally nailed the answer.
I know. I know what I'm talking about. That's why I said I'm one of the top ESPN analysts.
Have you ever been to a baseball game?
Actually, yes, because I used to volunteer for the Humane Society when I was younger, and they would always do a bark in the park and have an adoption event with the dogs at the baseball park. So that's the only
very
time
good
I've
reason to go to a baseball game.
That counts.
Yeah, so I've been to a lot of games.
Expert.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sean. So, G, I just said it right before you came on. Yeah, so G is on the main card 9 days, 10 days, 9 days from now. Next weekend's UFC Vegas 100. Main events, Neil Magny. But yeah, G's on the main card. We at Fight Bananas will be doing a live watch along on the main card. Main reason, big reason, Gillian Robertson. I already got the artwork for it. I already got Fight Week Savage artwork. We are rolling right now for next week. We cannot wait. It's here. Like, G, like, we talked about it so much. We actually just had Randy Costa on beforehand. We talked to him so many times before his fight. I just got my plane and hotel reservations, everything from Biloxi coming up in November 15th. It's so crazy how it's like, you know, you see the fight poster, it takes a long time, and now it's here. It is going to be here fight week. I guess, you know, another camp kind of in the books. Anything different? It seems like, if I could say from afar, seems like maybe a little bit more striking on this camp. Is that right, wrong, indifferent?
I guess that just in general, I want to include my last camp too, that I have been feeling more comfortable on my feet.
Okay.
So maybe
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in that element where I just feel like I do feel confident as an MMA fighter at this point. Like, I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm just a jiu-jitsu girl anymore, where if you look at me at 22 coming into the UFC, I'm very much just a jiu-jitsu girl, where it's like now I'm confident in my striking. I feel like not many girls are going to be able to keep up with my wrestling or jiu-jitsu, and even my MMA just in general, the way I'm mixing it up, I feel like is really just elevating these last two camps. I really do feel like I've just it's like the trial years are over, you know? I'm like, these last couple camps, I just found the right rhythm, what I need, and I feel better and better each camp. This is probably, I want to say, the best I've ever felt, you know?
Wow. That's amazing. I got one more, then I'll take it away, and then we can talk about UFC 308 and Edmonton, stuff of that nature. Were you inspired? Have a couple weeks ago, Fight Bananas family, Grant Dawson takes the microphone, does one of the best post-fight speeches. You got Derek Lewis and Grant Dawson. They're like neck and neck. Were you inspired? Do you have something in your back pocket? You got something amazing, funny? You can talk about your significant other, about a dump. You can, whatever you want. Do you have something in your back pocket for a post-fight speech?
I guess right now I don't.
Okay.
I have been thinking. I don't know. It's always something. It's something I always try to plan, but also in the moment, I feel like I never remember. Like,
Okay.
completely goes out the window every time. But my boyfriend will be there, and he will be. I think he's the only person coming for me this time. So I'm like, he's gonna be there alone with the camera on him. The guy who doesn't have an Instagram, doesn't like things like that.
Is this at the Apex?
It's at the Apex.
Yeah, it's
I'm
so
like,
awkward when the
it's gonna
camera's
be a
right
lot
in
for
your face
him.
there.
I'm more worried about him during my fight than I am me.
Tell him to do the Ricky Bobby thing with his hands.
Yeah.
That's how I always feel at the Apex, because they're like right there. They're so close to you. Because at least at the big arenas, they don't know where you're sitting. You're way up in the crowd somewhere. But they're like right here. And so I'm always like, don't look at them. Just look forward. Do the thing. Like, it's super awkward.
Act like they're not there. No, I'm like that all the time. We had cameras come into our gym last week for to celebrate Alberto getting his contract on the Contender Series. So
Yeah.
the UFC was there filming, so they were trying to get some content of me there while they were there as well, and I was just like trying to find the corner of the room to stand in, you know, like where can I be in the back?
Don't want to be here.
Exactly.
So uncomfortable to have the camera there.
I
feel for Dakota. I feel like she's like, PFL loves her, as they should. She's wonderful, but I feel like all the time she's like constantly just like, there's like a camera right here next to her, and she's just so like, yeah.
There's nothing more frustrating than when I was in the Tough House, and some days it's like you just can't get away from them, you know. They're always there. Anytime they hear a good conversation, the producer's like, go, and the cameras are rushing in.
I'm gonna switch to my headphones real quick so you can't hear the guy working on my AC unit.
Oh, you're good. I don't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear it? Okay,
No.
cool.
Yeah, whatever you want to. All right, G. We saw Chimaev absolutely dominate Whitaker in 2.5, 3 minutes. You texted me literally right in that moment happened. I'm like, dude, I'm like, I couldn't believe it. We talked about Ilya and Max a lot beforehand, and we all kind of were like, we think that's going to happen. We're hoping it's not, but we were thinking it. I did not think Chimaev was going to like run hot knife butter of Robert Whittaker of all people. How crazy was that fight? Then we'll get into the main event.
Oh, can't say I'm not like inspired in the next couple weeks,
Okay.
I'm like, just such a dominant performance. He went out there, literally didn't give him space to breathe from the time the bell started. I think I saw a meme earlier that was saying something about like Kazmat's first takedown of the round is probably one of the most unstoppable moves in MMA right now, because it was like 14 seconds in, 13 seconds in, 2 seconds in, whatever. He just shoots them so fast and gets his first takedown every single time. And then the way he was able to just control Robert, and it almost looked like Robert was just like waiting to weather the storm and get through it to then like capitalize, which I don't think is necessarily the strongest game plan. But it seemed like he didn't have like the urgency, I don't think, on the ground. He was just kind of like waiting for Khamzat to do his thing, and then just got in too deep too fast. And that teeth picture that's circulating is
brutal.
Have you ever, like, someone who rear naked chokes people for a living? It's like, hey, gee, like on your taxes, you don't even put mixed martial artist. You should write rear naked choker. And like, that's what you do. Have you ever got close to that, or have you ever done that to someone and really F them up and be like, whoa, like, I didn't know I had that?
Not like that. I will say that I heard that that was a previous injury that he had as well from the Dricus fight.
He said he's always had jaw teeth problems, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, there was probably some fragileness in his jaw like prior to it that just wasn't, I feel like he had a unique case, but I've never felt somebody's jaw crack like that. Definitely. I'm like, I feel like sometimes they give up the throat because you do have such heavy pressure on the jaw. Even when I got the choke on Rose Namajunas when we competed against each other.
Yeah.
When I first had the choke, it was on her jaw completely. And then she ended up giving me the neck because I just had good pressure on the jaw.
Yeah.
This
yeah,
is
but
a great point.
So fast. Sorry, carry on.
No, great point. Elle, you're next. Great point. Yeah, my neck is still not right. It was 3 years ago, Pensacola. I put up like a 12-minute fight with G. It was a great session. Put up some rear. I had some good transitions, good grappling. I slid away, and then G finally got the submission. My neck is still not right. But I'll take it away.
I was just saying, yeah, you can tell as somebody as tough as Robert Whittaker, how fast he tapped when he wasn't even on the neck. It was rough.
Oh, brutal.
Okay.
Brutal.
At first, watching the fight, I was like, did he just panic tap?
Yeah, it was weird, right?
He like scared or something? And then once I saw the pictures after, I was like, no, he tapped for real.
No,
like there's a reason behind that. Yeah.
I would have done the same. For sure.
Yeah. I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm not gonna argue now.
Nuts.
What about that double spinning back fist?
We haven't talked about that at all. That's great
yeah.
that you brought that up. We haven't talked about that.
The whole card was
Absolutely
incredible, by the way.
Oh yeah. From top to bottom, the card really like lived up to the hype, And that Char Bullet fight though, I'm like, absolutely incredible. I saw a video too of him practicing that technique too. So to practice something so unique like that and then be able to land it, I feel like it's like gonna be like the next thing we see that everybody's
gonna try it.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be trying
doing it.
Exactly.
No, it's like, yeah, like who I would think most of the time if you like did that in practice, like probably most coaches would be like, hey, like let's not do that. That's pretty high risk. Like you're probably not gonna land that. No, they were just drilling it ahead of time.
Yeah, I saw somebody posted a video of them drilling it, and they're like, "This would never work in an MMA fight."
Yeah, no, it's bizarre. Like he's incredible. Fareed Basharat fought that guy that missed by 10 pounds, looked great.
Yeah.
The first fight on the prelims was incredible. I actually want to know. I want to talk about it because I want to know how you scored that fight, G. Because I know you always watch the prelims.
I missed a little bit of them because sparring was in the middle of the prelims.
That's
fair. So I watched the first 2 fights, then I went to sparring. But in the first fight, definitely not the best scoring on the UFC's part. I feel like the commentators were almost trying not to talk shit on the judges.
Yeah, they were letting him have it.
Yeah, it was like I feel like Paul Felder like called himself back a couple times. He was like, maybe it's not okay. It's not okay. Like
it's not all right.
Yeah.
It's just it is scary the point that judging's at, because it's almost every card we're seeing things like this now where it's like fights that are just absurdly called the wrong way.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy. All right. Thank
Oh
you.
no,
Oh,
not
no,
at
no,
all.
it was. I think universally, like I don't think there wasn't anyone that said, "Oh, Carlos Leal didn't win that fight." Like everyone had him winning that fight. Crazy. All right, let's get to the main event. Ilia Topuria knocks out Max Holloway third round, and it was such a good fight. That's the one thing that I think has been lost on, and me and Elle talked about it a lot in the first hour of the show. How much Max had great moments, good back and forth. The calf kicks to me were adding up immensely. He had great stuff until it was over. And Ilya does that shot. I know it sounds wild and it's such a weak analogy, but he's like Poatan at featherweight. When he gets you, it's just over. There's just nothing else that can happen. Ilia Topuria defeats Max Holloway.
Yeah, I feel like the most impressive thing about Ilya is he's always in position. He's always staying in position, defensively aware. So it's like Max wasn't able, like he was able to pile up a lot of volume, but wasn't able to really get anything off clean on him, to get like him really respecting him backing up a lot. And Ilya was just very patient and found his shots. And obviously, it was hard to watch, man.
The speed too. Like I was giving play-by-play, which I don't usually do on the watch along because there were so many people in other countries that couldn't get the stream. So they're like, what's happening? So I'm trying to keep up with the fight. And when they enter into the pocket, the speed that they were throwing with and landing with every time they came together was just absurd to me. Like the Ilya's hooks inside were terrifying. Like I could feel the power through my phone screen. Like it was just, gave me chills.
No, both those boys are just something special, They're both Hall of Famers, no matter regardless of whatever the outcome of the fight, they're gonna be Hall of Famers. So I'd watch that fight 10 times,
100%, yeah.
My question for both of you guys, do you think that fight will ever happen again? Do you think Max will work his way back up and fight Ilya for the featherweight championship again?
I don't see it like leaving that group of three right now,
Sure.
the Volk, Holloway, Ilya. It's like I think Diego's a little bit like too young in his career. I would like to see him have more fights before he challenged for the belt, but I don't know who else really goes up there.
Yeah, I could see Max. I can see Ilya doing the same thing with Max Holloway that Volk did, where Max beats everybody here.
Yeah.
We also have two totally I feel like we went through an era where there weren't a ton of really high level grapplers at 145, or at least wrestlers, specifically wrestlers. But now we have both Movsar and Aljamain Sterling kind of creeping up as well. And I think everybody forgets about them because they're not as exciting and flashy as Diego Lopez.
Sure.
Like, where do those two guys stack up in this crazy featherweight division right now?
It's just, I was going to say, Ilya's so talented all around. His jiu-jitsu is no joke either. The way he was able to handle Ryan Hall's leg lock games, it's like, even that, like, very high level, it was, I don't know, just all around Ilya is such a threat that makes me think that even, like, good wrestlers, good jiu-jitsu people are going to have a hard time. Yeah.
He has zero holes, and he has like specialists of boxing. Like Poatan is, we all know he's amazing stand-up kickboxer, right? But like if he's on his back or on the ground, like we saw Jan kind of just lay and pray on him for a round. You're not doing that with Ilia Topuria. Like he has literally no holes. It's crazy. Crazy.
He's also only 27 years old, which I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, mind blown. So good for so young.
I know.
And he's decently good looking. Like this guy has it all. It sucks. Come on, Ilya.
He's still short, okay? He's still short.
There you
go. My boyfriend and I were talking about all that this week, and we're like, he really does have like the power to be a star power. And then my boyfriend's like, wait, how tall is he?
That's funny.
But it is so funny. Like everybody in my neighborhood, just like me going in the elevator, I've seen people were talking to me about it, or like one guy came in the elevator with the phone, the fights on his phone. It's like, it is really like attracting general
Yeah.
population's
Right.
That's good.
attention, which I don't know, it's rare to see that with certain fighters. You don't really see that since Connor.
Yeah. So
that's
that's good. That's really good to kind of hear that for sure. Yes, Dawson, you missed it. I had talked about it for 20 minutes. I had a rant on it, but G's
It's a
on
very interesting rant. You should definitely go back and listen to it. He's
My
correct. Dave is correct. It's Poetan.
G, do you have Poetan or Ilya Taporia as your fighter of the year?
Was Ilya's fight against Volk this year too?
Yeah.
He had 2. Poetan had 3 title defenses this year.
Oh,
I can see G is leading Ilya. I can see it in her face. She's
The
leading
wheels
it.
are turning.
it's just the people that Ilya did beat are the only
Agreed.
thing that
2 best wins. Dave and I
Exactly.
are on the same page.
I
Yes.
totally agree and see that side of it, G. His 2 wins, I will argue, are the 2 best wins of any UFC fighter the whole year. Like anyone. I know Dricus beat Izzy. Give me the biggest fights of the year. Islam beat Dustin. Whatever you want to say, right? The Aspinall beat Curtis. Whatever fights you want to say. Bilal beat Leon. What Ilya did has the 2 best wins. Totally agree. My thing with Poetan, my biggest thing is his willingness to, hey, UFC 300 didn't have the main event. Hey, can you fight Jamal Hill? All right, I'll do it. And then how he does it. UFC 303 was supposed to, got it. It was supposed to be Connor and member Chandler. That fight fell through. Literally, Alex was hurt in Australia. They called him, goes, all right, I'll do it. I saved you the 303. 307 had Juliana Pena and Rocky Pennington as the main event. Alex goes, guys, I'll save you once again. I'll do it. I can't get over it. Like, he gave us more. He saved our year. Saved it.
No, I'll definitely give you that, but I'm like, does that make his wins greater than like the Max and Volk win? I'm like,
No, it's a good point. It very well taken. I get it. It doesn't make it greater. I just think it makes it. I say it all the time. Like, I don't know how.
Man. He's a company
Yeah, like,
man.
no, my analogy is like if you run out of the house, there's a house that's burning, and you run out of the house with, pictures. Okay, that's great. But if you run out of the house with a puppy and a baby in your hand, like, you're doing more. I know maybe that analogy is horrible.
Dave's analogies have been absolutely wild. Here, how about I try and do one, Dave?
No, but my point is,
let's pretend the UFC is not fighting for a second. The UFC is just a regular office company. Who wins Employee of the Year?
Ooh,
Alex Pereira or Ilya Taporia? Ilya Taporia obviously did a lot of stuff, did the flashiest stuff, did a lot of stuff for him, but who did the most for the company?
Great
yeah,
point.
but is that what qualifies fighter of the year?
I don't know. I'm just saying if it was Employee of the Year, though, I think we'd agree it'd be Alex Pereira,
I agree
right?
with that. If it's Employee of the Year, Alex won.
Great point. That's actually a really good point. Great point. Man, we have our next guest in the green room. So, G, last thing with you. Like I said, 10 days, you're fighting. You're about to travel to Las Vegas. Dean Thomas, got your, boyfriend coming. How excited are you? How pumped are you? This is it. Big time fight. This is the run. This is the run Dean Thomas has been talking about. You've been talking about. We're in the run right now. How pumped for you? It's here. It's happening.
I've just felt like I've been ready for like weeks at this point. I'm just so ready to go. I could have had this fight a month ago and I would have been confident walking in the cage. The weight cut's going great. The fight camps went great. Everything's been honestly perfect to this point, besides for taking my color, but we'll talk about that later.
Love it. Well,
but
G,
I'm like,
keep going.
everything's like where it needs to be, and I'm just ready to go in there and get my hand raised next weekend.
Love it. I'm excited. I know Ella's excited. We are excited for you. Fight Banaz. That's it. We're not going to bother you anymore. Any communications coming from your end first. Like I said, I got a lot of artwork for you. I will send to you throughout the week and the weekend. Cannot wait. Hopefully we'll talk next Saturday night after first round submission win.
I'll see you guys then.
Can't
Sounds
wait.
good, G. Appreciate you. Have a good week.
You too.
The Savage one. Gillian, the Savage Robertson. Dude, our next guest